Hi everyone, my name is Jane. Welcome back to my channel. Today is actually election day in Korea and the country is holding its quadrennial parliamentary elections. This year, South Koreans will fill 300 seats in its unicameral National Assembly election. I am so excited to say that it is gonna be my first time to vote, and I know that a lot of you here living in Korea who might be voting for the first time also have the same expectations and maybe questions in your mind, like how are you going to vote, or what are you going to do, or how are you going to vote, especially nowadays that it's not yet totally safe to go outside. This is actually quite long overdue because had I applied for Korean citizenship earlier, then I would have been able to vote in 2017. I have a few questions, concerns, and even expectations as a first-time voter in Korea, but more on concerns actually. So the first question in my mind is, where are we going to vote? Are we just gonna go to like any Jumin Center or any school, just like in the Philippines where we live in our area? And yeah, that concern was quickly answered when a week ago we received this envelope containing all the necessary information that we need for voting. And this also actually contains the pamphlets of all the candidates for this year's election. But I am not going to be showing you these pamphlets because I believe it's not probably going to be allowed anymore because the campaign period is already over. So along with these pamphlets is a piece of paper. I am just covering something here because this actually includes our voting registration number. So this has the map of the place where we can vote or where we are supposed to vote, and this also includes our name. So in my family or in our household, there are 2 registered voters, or actually I don't need to say registered because in Korea, as long as you are a Korean citizen and you registered your address, you don't really need to register again as a voter because that's automatic. And like in the Philippines where you have to go to, or you really need to register every election, because if you were not able to vote for like 2 consecutive elections, your name is going to be removed from the voters list. But in Korea, it's not the case. You can decide not to vote for years or even decades, and every election your name is still going to be included in the official voters list. So it's the same thing that happened to my husband, because my husband has not voted for a very long time, but this year we decided to vote together. Yeah, we'll be going to the voting center together. So yes, you can see my name, my husband's name, and my name over here, and that means that we are allowed to vote, that we are actually registered voters in our neighborhood in this area. Every voter has a registration number. So unlike in the Philippines where during election day you go to the nearest school in your neighborhood and then you fall in line and check where your name is and what room number you're supposed to vote. In Korea, everything is already given or sent to you on this piece of paper. So we don't need to struggle, we don't need to wonder, or where should we go, or how are we going to find our registration number or find our room where we're supposed to vote. So that's already included here. So the address is right here. We will vote in this school, and okay, this is the exact place where we should go. And all we need to do is to bring our yeah, our national ID. Okay, so another concern of mine is the safety. And along with this envelope also is this one. So these are the things that we have to follow on the day of the election. Number one, before we go to the voting center, we have to make sure that we prepared our national ID, okay, or 신분증. As far as I know, in Korea, we can use our driver's license or our 주민등록증, national ID. Children, young children, are actually not allowed to go to the voting center. We should also make sure that we wash our hands before going to the polling center. Wash our hands for at least 30 seconds. And we should also wear a mask. When we get to the voting center, we have to get our temperature checked. So, 발열 체크를 받고 손 소독제로 꼼꼼하게 소독 후. Alright, so we should have to check our temperature and then sanitize our hands and put on, I think this is gonna be binil 장갑, so this is gonna be plastic gloves. Inside and outside the polling center, we have to keep at least 1 meter distance between each voter or between each person. So we still have to practice and observe social distancing during this time. Inside and outside the voting center, we should also avoid unnecessary conversations. So I will be going with my husband, so we will probably not be talking, the whole time. We will most likely not talk to each other. Again, avoid unnecessary conversations. And what else? Okay. So when we get to the polling center and just before we vote, they will have to confirm our identity. So we'll have to show our ID and briefly remove our mask or lower our mask, and they'll just have to confirm our identity. And that's it. So in case of a fever, so let's say for example, they've checked our temperature and then somebody has a fever or somebody has some respiratory symptoms. So what's gonna happen is the person will be directed to, I think it's called a temporary voting center. And after voting, that person will be sent to the nearest health center. So of course, after voting, you go back home and then wash your hands again. Alright, so these are the things that we have to remember before going to the voting center today. So yes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So when voting, first it's important to check the temperature, and then if the person has a fever, go to the temporary voting center. And third, we have to sanitize our hands, put on the plastic gloves, and afterwards we vote. After voting, we take off our gloves, go home, and wash our hands again. So yes, so these are what we are supposed to do. Okay, just a few interesting things about this year's election in Korea. First, there was actually already an early voting that was done last Friday and Saturday. It actually recorded a 26.69% voters turnout, okay, which is actually quite really high. And I also read a report that for the first time, the ballots this year will be counted manually, and this is the first after 18 years. So I'm not sure exactly why that has to be, or how it's gonna be done, but yeah, manual counting of ballots this year. The election will be held from 6 a.m. in the morning to 6 p.m. in the afternoon or in the evening. So a lot of people are actually expected to go to voting stations as early as 6 a.m. So yeah, that's for them, not for me, because I'm not a morning person. So I'll probably be voting around brunch or maybe even after lunchtime. Okay everyone, so that's it for today's video. Thank you for coming. Thank you for visiting my channel and watching this video. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and leave a comment about your own personal experience, maybe expectations and concerns about voting in Korea. And let's go out there, exercise our right to vote, and good luck. Bye! See you in my next video.